So CJ, which car do you like more?
The white one.
Why do you like the white one more?
Because it's faster.
Because it's faster?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which color do you like more?
The wheels on this.
You like the wheels on this one?
Yeah.
But you like the white car more?
Yeah.
Alright, man. Wave bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
What's up, Tubesters? This is a Two Stangs production. I'm your host, Two Stangs. Got something real Mustang related for you guys today. Today we're going to talk about the difference between a Foxbody and an SN-95 Mustang, and what's the better choice for you as a new buyer. Let's check it out. So look, YouTube, it's no secret. Foxbodies have already gotten very, very expensive. What you paid a few years for a Foxbody is just not what you're gonna pay today. So if you've been looking around pricing an SN-95 Mustang or a Foxbody, then I don't need to tell you. You already know they've both gotten pretty expensive. But first, for our new viewers, let's just kind of back up and let's just talk about what we're referring to here. So when I say Foxbody, you know, Foxbodies did start, I believe, in 79. They went from 79 to 93. But for comparison purposes, I'm going to compare more of the Aero cars. So I want to talk more about the 87 and 93 cars. And when we say SN-95, that's the code name for the next generation after the Foxbody. So after the Foxbody was the SN-95 cars, and they ran from 1994 to 1998. Now, first let's talk a little bit about the SN-95 cars. They're not all created equally. First off, you've got the GT, but you've also got the Cobra. Now, I will say the Cobras, they always give you a little more before when you go with the Cobra. But the 94-95 Cobras had the pushrod engine. The 94 to 98 Cobras had the 4-valve modular engine. And if you've seen my earlier videos, I talk about, you know, how I feel about modular engines. And I've said it before, anything 4-valve from Ford is putting down power. But there's pros and cons on both sides. So I'll kind of jump back and forth between the Cobras and the GTs when you're talking about these cars. Now, if you're looking for one of these, if you're looking for a Foxbody and money is not really an object, then I'd say, you know, shoot for the Foxbody. So for comparison purposes, I'll read my notes a little bit today because I got a lot I want to talk about. But for comparison purposes, we're going to talk about the cost of entry. We're going to talk about the cost of ownership. We're going to talk about the cost of upgrades. We're going to talk about coolness and nostalgia. Then we'll talk about resale, investment, rate of return on your investment. So let's talk a little bit about the Foxbody first. Of course, the Foxbody is the older car. So as far as return on investment, the Foxbody is going to give you a little more. These cars are sky high now. They're only going up in value. And if you can get your hands on one for a good price and you can afford it, I recommend you get one. Now, on the flip side, these cars are a little older. So you do run into a few more mechanical issues with the Foxbody than you would a newer SN-95 car, depending on who owned it before you and how it was taken care of before you get your hands on it. I will say, if you're gonna get a Foxbody, you either need to know a couple of decent mechanics, or you should probably be one yourself. We're talking these cars are over 30 years old now, so you're gonna run into some issues here and there. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you know, you run into things. I did a video on, I called it ludicrous Foxbody problems. You know, it's just things are gonna happen with the car that old. I don't care how good you take care of it. So cost of entry, yes, the Foxbody is gonna cost you a little more. Now, when you start talking about the SN-95 cars, they are not all created equally. First off, the Cobras are going to cost you a little more than a GT car, but you get what you pay for. If you invest a little more and you get a Cobra, they hold their value a little better. Now, my personal opinion, if you're going to go with an SN-95 car and you go with the Cobra, I prefer the 4-valve cars, the 96 to 98 cars over the 94, 95 cars. But there's pros and cons to that. What I will say, push rod motors are easier to work on. So you'll find a mechanic that can work on a push rod motor, and I mean, he doesn't even have to be that advanced of a mechanic. For a Foxbody and even the 94 and 95 Cobras with the push rod motor, I mean, everything is right there in front of you. So they are more simple to work on than a modular Cobra. So that's something else you also want to consider. Now let's talk about cost of upgrades. Now, if you're comparing upgrading a push rod car to a modular car, we're going to talk about the cost. The push rod is going to win all day. They're just cheaper to work on. Heads, cam, intake, you can find that stuff, Jeg, Summit, everywhere else, and you know, it's pretty attainable. The problem when you have a 4-valve car, you start talking about upgrading heads, cam, intakes, you're upgrading 4 cams. So that's going to cost you a little more. And these motors can be a little more difficult to work on. So that's something that you have to consider when you're going back and forth between the two. So cost of upgrades, I would probably give the edge to a Foxbody. But what you save in upgrades, you'll probably make up for it in maintenance. That's just how it is with older cars. Coolness and nostalgia. Now this is a personal opinion. The Foxbody's older, so by it being an older car, it probably would get a little more attention. Maybe a little bit better investment. But the thing is, you're going to pay a little more for that Foxbody as well. So that's also something you have to highly consider if you're looking at these two cars. One thing you have to consider when you are debating between these two cars, the SN-95 platform is the newer of the two. I mean, these cars are made by engineers, so every generation they make them more efficient, they make them faster. Now these cars were a little heavier than a Foxbody, but hands down, if you're going to get in and go for a drive, this car's going to stop better, it's got the better brakes, it's going to handle better, it's got the better suspension. So that's something you really want to consider, because this is the newer, so it got the better of Ford's design, because everything they made this car was based off the previous model, so all they did was really improve it for these. So that's something you want to consider as well. Back to cost of upgrades. One Achilles heel of a Foxbody, some people don't see it as an Achilles heel, but they were 4-lug cars. So if you want to put some of the more modern, cooler wheels on these cars, then you have to convert these cars to 5-lugs, which means likely you need to find 94 and 95 spindles. While you're in there, you might as well upgrade the brakes to anywhere from a 94 to a 99 style brake, whether you do GT or Cobra. And then you're going to have to upgrade your axles. So, before you even go to put wheels on these cars, you could have about almost $1,000 worth of parts just in a 5-lug conversion. And I've got the parts and receipts to prove it. So that's something that you will have to consider if you're debating whether or not you want one of these styles of cars. So let's talk a little bit about performance. We're going to talk about performance. If you're looking between a GT and a Foxbody and you want a performance build, I would probably go with the Foxbody, just because that push ride 5.0 is tried and true. It really made more power than just a 2-valve GT motor. Now, if you're looking at the Cobra, especially if you're talking about the 96 to 98 Cobra, stock from 96 to 98, these cars made more horsepower than a Foxbody motor. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but they did. Stock Foxbody motor probably only gave you anywhere from 220 to 240 horsepower. These were 305 right out of the box. Now a lot of people claim they have a stock motor even when they've changed the heads, cams, and intakes. You know, a lot of people, hardcore racers, they feel like as long as the bottom end is stock, then it's stock. But I'm saying bone stock, if you're going to compare the two, a bone stock Foxbody to a bone stock 96 to 98 Cobra, the Cobra's going to be a little faster. It just is. So as far as return on investment, if you go with the 96 to 98 Cobra, or even the 94, 95 Cobras are always going to do a little bit better as far as rate of return than a GT. So you'll be close to what a Foxbody may do, you know, but the Foxbody is going to always have a little bit of an edge because it's an older car. Outside of that, you know, if you're looking for an investment, if you can afford to go with the more expensive Foxbody, then go with the Fox, because the older, you know, the more people desire them, the less they're on the road. So I would maybe give the Foxbody the edge as far as that. So to answer your question, what is better between a Foxbody and an SN-95 Mustang? To be honest with you, it's going to depend on you as a buyer, your preference, and your situation. I really can't decide. I like them both, but to be honest, I don't have a fair comparison. My Foxbody was highly modified when I bought it, so it's probably making 100 or so more horsepower than my SN-95 car. So if I just want to get out and cut up, this is the car. The Foxbody is light. When you start modifying them, a car that light, you start getting over 400 horsepower, they really get squirrely and they can be a lot of fun. Now on the flip side, this is my more mild car. I mean, I really haven't done anything but cold air and exhaust in the wheels that you see, but it's more reliable. I can start this car up every time and it's the same every time because it still has a lot of the parameters from Ford. As for this car, it's a little bit different animal. So it's really hard for me to say. I can't tell you which one I like more. I probably lean towards the Fox a little bit, but it depends on what day you ask me. Now as far as you as a buyer, that's going to depend on you. But like I said, the big things that you want to consider, cost of entry, that's a toss-up. Cost of ownership, that can be a toss-up. Cost of upgrades, I give the edge to the Foxbody. They're going to be a little bit cheaper to fix up than a mod motor car. Now, on the flip side, if you were to get a GT SN-95, they're only 2-valve, and it takes so much more to make those cars fast. So I still give the edge to the Foxbody. Coolness and nostalgia, probably still give the edge to the Foxbody. Now I already said that reinvestment or return on investment, resale, Fox bodies are older, so it gets the edge on that one as well. But I can't just say that hands down I just completely love the Fox body more. I like them both. So as a buyer, you have to decide. All I want to do in this video is just kind of make you aware of some things that you have to deal with both vehicles.
This is a two-stand production. Thank you for watching and subscribe and like.